What if I told you that the most important player on the 22 Warriors run wasn't Curry? What if I told you it took one punch to end the dynasty? Poole was the ace meant to carry the dynasty forward. It was supposed to be a new era in the Bay, with Poole at the head of the ship. But unfortunately, some of the Eagles simply couldn't handle it, and ended it before it even got the chance to start. It's time to jump back into the Poole party in 2022.
Oh, Poole had Clarkson fall down, and then hit the three!
To understand what was lost, you have to understand what Poole actually was. He was able to pull from 30 with ease. He was able to finesse in traffic with ease, and his release was so quick, defenders simply cleared the time. And even when they fouled him, the ball still made it to the bottom of the net. He averaged 18.5 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 4 assists on 45, 36, 92 splits, with a true shooting percentage of 60.5 off the bench. This level of efficiency in scoring off the bench at only 22 is simply unheard of. We've only seen this from Manu Ginobili and James Harden, two of the most iconic six-mans, one being the best six-man of all time and one turning into an MVP. Poole is having an impact on the game only stars can have. The Warriors' net rating when Poole on the court, it was 8.1 points, and when he was off, it was 2.4 points. The league average is only 0, and Poole moved it by 6. His points per touch was top 15 among all guards. Every time the ball found him, defense had to do something. You just simply couldn't let him breathe. By the playoffs, he wasn't just a prospect anymore. He was a problem, and the league was about to find out. Round 1, the Denver Nuggets. They had no Murray or MPJ, so Denver was shorthanded. But Poole made it even look shorter somehow.
The Euro.
He averaged 21 points per game along with 2.5 rebounds and 5.5 assists, shooting 55, 48, and 85 from the field. He was doing this in the playoffs at only 22 in his first ever playoffs. Denver kept trying to take away Steph's shot, double team, ball denials, and constant attention towards him. And every time they did that, Poole made them pay. Pull up 3 before the help arrived, finessing his way into the lane and drawing fouls every time they reached. He told the league that he has arrived. Golden State's offensive rating all season was 115, and with Poole on the floor in the playoffs, it was 121.4. He didn't maintain the standard, he raised it. He showed the league that he had a star level impact. Now round 1 was proof of the concept. Round 2 is when the league really found out who the real JP was. Next was the Grizzlies, and it looked like we finally have a new version of the grit and grind Grizzlies. Ja, Jaren, Bane, Brooks. After a few games, the Grizzlies were convinced that they were going to send Golden State home early. But the series tied 2-2 and the momentum all in their favor. Then, JP arrived. In the next 2 games, Poole combined for 57 points to send the Grizzlies home, back-to-back on the road. Steph had all the attention for the Grizzlies, but they forgot about the third splash bro right next to him. Something we have to talk about was Poole's clutch net rating versus the Grizzlies. In the clutch moments during the fourth quarter versus the Grizzlies, his net rating was plus 22.4. The league average is only 0. This was a series where we found out Poole was one of the ones when it mattered most. But this was just the start for Poole, because what we learned in that next series against Dallas was Poole can change the course of a series while even having to take over. Well, Dallas wasn't much of a fight. Golden State held them to 95.9 points per 100, the lowest of any opponent all postseason. He would average 16 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists. But Poole still affected the game in many ways. He had a 15-point on and off swing. With Poole on the court, it unlocked more aspects of the game for the Warriors, and the Mavericks simply just couldn't do anything with it. His gravity of that series is simply underlooked. Now, it's the real test, the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals. Can Poole help the Warriors extend the dynasty just by 1 more year? It was clear that Boston was simply not anything they faced in the Western Conference. They were the #1 defense in the NBA with a defensive rating of 106.2. Their core of Tatum, Brown, Horford, and the Defensive Player of the Year, Marcus Smart, they stole Game 1. This was actually a real series for them. And when the lights got brighter, Poole simply just got hotter.
Golden State has a lot of time. Poole with the ball. Launches. Oh! Money!
In the finals, Poole dropped 13 points a game on 45, 39, 91 splits. He didn't take over any games, but he had moments that shifted the momentum towards Golden State. Most guys don't look like themselves against Boston's defense, but Poole simply just looked like himself out there. Every time he came off the floor, the offense dropped 9 points per 100 possessions. The biggest difference of anybody on the team, excluding Steph. Boston tried looking for answers for a problem they had no idea how to solve. Poole was simply the spark for the Warriors when they needed it the most. It was proof that Poole's style of play can translate into winning basketball at the highest level. Now it felt like the Warriors had found a new star to slowly replace Curry and extend the dynasty. He now has a ring. He looked like the future. It was a pool party in the Bay. Then October came. It wasn't an injury, but it hurt worse than an Achilles tear, a fractured ego. On October 5th, 2022, in a Warriors practice, Draymond Green punched Jordan Poole in the face. In the surface, it was just a scuffle that escalated, but the real story was money and ego. Poole now was worth $140 million, and he wasn't just a kid anymore. He had a playoff resume, he had near max money, and he actually had power in the organization. Draymond getting into his own contract couldn't sit with that. We all know how Draymond's ego can get, and we knew he couldn't handle it. With the video leak, Draymond got suspended. Everybody said the right things, but nothing was ever the same. The pool party in the Bay simply was just drained. In the 22-23 season, Poole averaged 20 points, 3 rebounds, and 4.5 assists on 43, 33, 87 splits, with a net rating of -5.8. His counter stats looked better, but on the court, he just simply looked worse. His 3-point shooting fell off. His net rating went negative, and that natural confidence that made him unguardable was simply just inconsistent. In the NBA, consistency is key. We know this. In the playoffs, this is how we knew Poole will never be the same again. He averaged 10 points on 35, 25, 75 splits. That is just horrendous. The Warriors went from champions to a second-round exit via the Lakers, and the locker room just simply never healed. So, what does this dynasty look like if none of this happens? Not even 1 year later, Jordan Poole will be shipped off to Washington for Chris Paul because the chemistry was simply not there. Chris Paul will only stay 1 season and get bought out the next season. So they traded their potential budding star for a washed up veteran for 1 year, and to not even make nothing happen in that 1 year. It felt like they gave up on JP way too soon. Then Clay left, and the Warriors has simply always been a 500 team, missing the playoffs this past year. It was clear that this was an organization that punched his own future in the face. In Washington, he was simply the team captain. 15 wins with no system, no competitive stakes, just a ball and some usage numbers. Now, in Washington in his first year, Poole averaged 17.5 points, 4.5 assists, shooting 41% from the field and 33 from 3. He was doing this when the team that only won 15 games, so those stats don't build anything, and the efficiency still kept sliding. 3 years of straight decline. That's not a slump, that's simply just a trend. Volume scoring on a tanking roster does this. Contested pull-ups, no off-ball reads, and nobody to play off of. It's simply just harder to be efficient on a trash team because you are simply just the center of attention for the opposing team. Washington gave him the touches, but they did not give him a system. Those are not the same thing. Now, in the next summer, the Pelicans would trade for Jordan Poole for CJ McCollum. This was perfect for him. A new system with stars to feed off of, something like in Golden State. Not the same, but still could be as good. The Pelicans didn't bring Poole in to be a star. They brought him to be a weapon, and right now, that's exactly what he needs. But now, New Orleans isn't focused on Poole anymore. Fears and Queens showed flashes of being the future of the franchise. With Zion, Murray, and Trey still on the roster, there are simply too many mouths to feed. From on top of the entire basketball world just 3 years ago, lining up to be the next face of the franchise, to be an afterthought on one of the worst teams in basketball right now. We here believe that Poole can still be a contributor on a contender. He still has the scoring ability and the playmaking ability to be a threat on an actual contender. Poole is a really entertaining player, but we also need this chapter to end somehow. And we cannot end it like this, because he still has room left in the tank. If you enjoy sports content like this, please don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and share it to a friend. Thank you for all watching. We out.